Yo, yo, yo. What up, peoples? What's going on? Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Turn that down just a bit. There we go. Oh, man. We got video gaming news for today, July 24th, and then we're going to do a intro day into Fallout New Vegas, baby. First playthrough of Fallout New Vegas starts today. So we still got some Grounded to finish up. We'll get that done as Pinky's schedule can make room for it. So we'll do some Grounded moving forward. We'll start Fallout New Vegas now. We've got Remnant 2 comes out tomorrow. So we're going to start paying attention as to how that game looks, because we might start diving into that on weekends. WrestleQuest comes out on the 8th. We've got what is it? It's coming out at the end of the month, man. Man, I'm brain farting right now. I haven't had enough coffee. Got a lot of stuff coming, man. We're Blasphemous 2. That's what it is. Blasphemous 2 coming out at the end of the month that we're gonna play. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good games coming out, man. So, I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's jump in here to the video gaming news. Let's see what we can find, what's happening in the industry. And then we'll get into the gaming stuff today. Cool. Let's do that. Keep that music popping off while we find our articles this morning, and then we'll kill it while we actually start reading into them, okay? Let's go. Looks like Insomniac is working on a third game alongside Spider-Man. I'm guessing they're talking about Wolverine and maybe another game? Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll see what that is. I think that it's fairly obvious. I mean, there's a lot of hype about Spider-Man 2. The hype for me about Spider-Man 2 is that they're going to be finished with it soon, and it'll be released, and they can be working on Wolverine. I want Wolverine. That's what I want. And I'm glad it's somebody like Insomniac working on it and not flipping EA, dude. EA has two different studios right now working on standalone Marvel games, Black Panther and Iron Man. And I don't trust EA. I don't trust their subsidiaries. And so we've seen, it's not that there aren't sometimes decent games that come out of EA, but it's because their umbrella is so big. they're bound to have decent games here and there, but man, they have a lot of bad ones too, which is why I don't trust them. And I'm glad that Wolverine, a character that I love, is actually going to be coming out of a studio in Insomniac, and not EA. Even though that means that this game, Wolverine, will be, I'm pretty sure is going to be PlayStation proprietary, first-party PlayStation, at least for the initial rollout, you know. We'll look at the Steam free game stuff. They're probably kind of obscure, not super notable. That's kind of the way the free games on Steam are, but we'll take a look. Another free Steam game article. See what that is. If it's anything different than that first article we have. Blizzard on patch 1.1.0. We know it is not fun. What? Baldur's Gate 3 should not set the standard for role-playing games, warns developers. Interesting. Armored Core 6 physical discs leak ahead of media embargo. Interesting. We talked about this yesterday. I see both sides of this. It feels bad if you're just a gamer that hasn't been on Ubisoft for quite some time, because maybe there hasn't been a drive to be on Ubisoft and then your account gets closed. And I can see it as a business standpoint as well. I don't think this is probably a surprise. Almost 70% of Russia's gamers are pirating in the wake of Western companies' departure. Yeah. I think that was... Most people knew that was going to be a big result of this. That's the Insomniac stuff. We have that up. And no, you cannot play Genshin Impact on the Xbox. Actually, Genshin... If I remember correctly, Genshin Impact was, they approached Xbox first and foremost. Well, who is the developer? Who is Genshin again, dude? I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it Tencent? Are they the developer of Genshin? God, who is that, dude? MiHoYo, my bad. MiHoYo, yeah. So MiHoYo, apparently they approached Xbox first, and Xbox was like, nah. And so then they approached PlayStation, and PlayStation was like, yeah, it seems like this would work for our platform. And so... It's been very lucrative for MiHoYo. It's been very lucrative for PlayStation as well. That's why it hasn't been on Xbox. It doesn't mean it won't end up coming there, but that's why it hasn't been there as of this point. It was supposed to be on Switch. They've announced they were planning on it being on Switch since Genshin released, but apparently they're having a really hard time getting it to work, so I don't know. We'll see if that ever happens. I really don't expect to see Genshin on a Nintendo platform until their new hardware comes out, but we'll see. This is probably just about them shutting down their other accounts and stuff. Yeah. Ubisoft closes your account if you haven't logged in for quite some time. So there's just saying Ubisoft gives PC gamers another reason to pirate its games. I don't know, dude. Can you expect companies to just hold on to accounts forever? People, I think there has to be a limit to it. If somebody hasn't logged into an account for a decade, I think that there should be, from the business point of view, the amount of people that, for these bigger companies especially, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of server space. It's a lot of, to maintain that kind of stuff. And not that that's the 10-year thing. I'm just throwing a number out there. I think that they're actually it's much smaller than that right now for Ubi. So I think that kind of feels bad. But I think that there should be a higher threshold for it. But inevitably, I mean, you can't expect these platforms and businesses to hold on to your accounts to the end of time. Things happen to people, and if an account is inactive for an extended period of time, I think people have to be realistic about the fact that these are businesses. And if there is a high, I think there has to be some kind of high threshold number. Like, if you haven't logged into your account for 10 years or whatever, your account's going to go away, you know? And it's, you know, the reality of the world we live in is that people pass away. You know, there are all kinds of reasons as to which people wouldn't be accessing accounts anymore and things like that. So, Farrah, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? I don't know. I mean, I think people have to be realistic about this. I don't think that the number for Ubi is super. I don't think it's like a month or two. I think it's more like a few years, something like that. If you haven't logged into your Ubisoft account within a few years, then they're getting rid of it, which seems kind of small, especially considering that Ubisoft hasn't done a whole lot, in my opinion, to pull people into logging into their account quite often that aren't Ubi enthusiasts, you know? So that feels like they might need to bump that number up a bit, you know, in my opinion. But I think people have to be realistic about this situation. And look, I'm not an Ubisoft fan, really. I think that they've been struggling a lot. I'm not a big fan of their tactics of and strategy of just leaning so heavily on certain titles like Assassin's Creed and stuff. So don't think that. But I think people have to be realistic about this situation too. It's a business, and you know they have to take measures to be efficient. You know. Classic Nintendo GameCube game seemingly headed to PC. Sick. How you doing this morning, Ferret? What's up, man? We've talked a lot about Remnant. I'm not going to pull this up. Remnant releases officially tomorrow. I think people have already been early. I think you could have gotten in early on the 21st. Is there any interesting? Oh, nice, dude. Nice. Y'all ready to rock? We might have to delay ours a little bit. We'll see. So I don't know quite yet whether or not I'll be here this weekend. I was telling everybody I thought we were going to be gone, but something came up. We might have to delay ours. I might be here this weekend. We might be delaying ours for another weekend. Nothing big. It was just something. This is very interesting. So right now, out of 26 critic reviews, it's an 80 on Metacritic. Yeah, game releases in 17 hours. So it'll be another day and 17 hours until we actually get user reviews up. If you guys want to look at the video or any of the reviews or anything, there you go. Take a look at that. Very interesting. This is a game that it looks like we'll probably end up playing. So I'm really interested in playing this with a community that might be interested in it. Okay, cool. So what I'll say is, if you are interested in this game, one of the things I noted previously is you can see right here that the different editions. So I'm still gonna wait. I'm still gonna wait until the game releases fully, till I can get a good look at all around reviews. I expected this game to be pretty decent. The first one was pretty well reviewed, but I wanted to wait and see how people felt about this one as well, to see if they are doing even better on this one than the previous one. And if that's the case, then, you know, I think it's well worth diving into for how good it looks. And for this type of game, is, you know, this is like something that I really enjoy. Loot and shoot, dark, ominous vibes. Something that we can play co-op together. You know, I enjoy that. That's kind of cool. So, you can see there's different versions: a $50 base, a $60 deluxe, and then a $70 ultimate. I'll link this so you can take a look at what those do. But one of the things that we found was that there is a sell on Green Man Gaming right now. I think the code is July 17, where any full retail price game you can get 17% off, which means that basically whatever edition of this game you want to purchase into, if you're interested in playing, you can get 17% off of it, it looks like. So, and it'll be a Steam key, so you'll still own it on Steam. You'll just purchase it through Green Man Gaming. You can get 17% off, and that's a legitimate website. So, something to think about there if you're interested. Oh, nice, dude. BattleBit Remastered got a new update with new map modes and patch notes are revealed. Let's take a quick peek. This is a great game. So when are you guys heading out to go camping, Ferret? I'm sure you told me already, dude, but I'm just real three-head, you know. Thursday morning, word. Okay. All right, all right. Well, that might be when we start playing Remnant. So I'll have to fill you in when you get back on my impressions of the game. We've got literally like all this stuff up. Why are we getting a bunch of the same articles we've already seen? All right, let's go to our other search real quick. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think the thing that's nice right now is that if you looked at that Metacritic, you're not hearing anything right now about like sequel is improved on all shortcomings. Predecessor carved out many new systems, only add enjoyment. You're not seeing anything really here from these early reviews talking about any kind of This does say the only thing missing is the final touch of optimization. Less than ideal optimization. So we are seeing a little bit of this. Looks like there are a couple of reviews that felt like maybe it needs a bit more polishing. This is a clunky kind of game, though. I remember, and that might just be something that some of these people weren't ready to experience in this game. Remnant 1 is a game like, if you've never played Gears of War is that same kind of game. It's got a clunky kind of feel to it. And that's the way I expected this game to be as well. But we'll just have to wait till we see a few more reviews. Hopefully it's not like, it doesn't seem like any kind of significant performance issues, you know what I mean? That's always one of my big issues that I think we're all worried about on release nowadays, right? But it seems like maybe a little more polishing. We'll see. 1 second. Oh man, dude, my wife got me some of these like specialty brats. They're insane. She got me Reuben brats. They're basically like corned beef brats with like Swiss inside of them and everything. And I ate it with like Thousand Island dressing. Dude, they were banging. And then these other ones are whiskey peppercorn brats, dude. They're so flipping good. I don't even know where she got them at, but man, they are insane. I don't know what just made me think of that. Probably because, you know, I'm always hungry. I talked about this. PlayStation's new accessibility controller is releasing Project Leonardo. I think it's great. There's more of an aim and focus in the industry for accessibility. The thing that I think is terrible is that this controller costs like roughly $30 more than any normal DualSense controller does. For a demographic of people that if people need this controller to get into the world of gaming because they have significant disabilities, they have another hurdle over anybody else, which is a higher price tag. And that just feels bad. I would have rather seen PlayStation try to get that price of that controller closer to what everybody else pays for just a regular DualSense 5 controller, you know? Rather than, you know, people with disabilities who already have a really tough time getting into gaming in the first place because of lack of accessibility, whether it be on the software development side or the hardware peripheral side, whatever. You know, and now PlayStation even makes it harder with a increase in price and everything too. It just would have been at least a lot nicer to see the price of this device be closer to a regular controller price. I know a lot of people are going to go, well, that's just business, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, I understand. But for me, somebody that, you know, I'm more worried about as many people as possible, you know, obviously having access to gaming. And I feel it's unfortunate that we're this far along in the history of gaming and you know, we're still struggling to get people accessibility options, you know, where there hasn't been more of a focus on it in the past. And now, you know, it costs even more than regular equipment does. That sucks. It just sucks, you know. But I'm glad that it seems like something that people are enjoying already. That's great. Starfield multiplayer exists, just not in the way we imagined. 10 Lord of the Rings characters who deserve their own game. Gollum. Too soon? Oh wait, that's been somebody tried that. God dang, dude. Yikers. Super Mario Brothers Wonder release date, gameplay, and everything we know. Take a look at that. Yeah, we knew High on Life was coming to PlayStation. So let me talk about something here because I actually did a little bit of research last night. As I've talked a lot about like Project Q seeming underwhelming to me. As it from everything we know, it's just a remote access device. It's not a true handheld. It's a controller with a remote access screen on it. And I've asked people before, because look, man, I've really worked my way away from console stuff, and I've talked a lot about how it feels bad that there's just not more of a focus from PlayStation on giving people remote access for their console, even before something like this came out. But I did a bit of research last night, and it seems like PlayStation does have a remote access application out there. So what's it called? PlayStation Remote Play. Yeah, maybe that's... Well, they don't want to require people to use their phones, because if they can make people buy their own accessory, right? This is what I'm having a hard time understanding, and the research I did last night. So, PlayStation Remote Play, okay? So, if I've been wrong about this, PlayStation does have a legitimate, decent remote play option for individuals that have bought into their platform, then I'll retract, dude, and say that I was wrong, because I wasn't aware. And it does seem like they have something, but from what I've read, it doesn't seem fantastic. The power of PlayStation gaming streamed to PS5, PS4, PC, Mac, Apple iOS, and Android devices. So I want to look into this today. I want to look into this. And I also want to look into seeing whether Xbox has something similar or not. Because again, I mean, dude, I've touted Steam Link a lot. And I've talked about how I didn't think the PlayStation or Xbox had anything like this. But apparently it looks like PlayStation has something, you know? And I don't want to be... downing a company for something that they are trying to do or have been doing whenever I just haven't been informed on it, right? So we're gonna take a look at this today and figure out what its capabilities are and what PlayStation's doing there. I mean, if they at least have had that rolled out for a while and it's pretty functional and it works on most devices and stuff like that, then I'm going to be a little bit more acceptable of them just pushing out some remote access device to go along with it. As before, whenever I've talked about Project Q stuff, it was like, how are they pushing this out as a remote access device when they don't have remote access inherently for their consumer base first and foremost? You know, that was the big thing that was a turn off for me. But I could have been wrong. and I want to make sure that you know, I'm informed here, and we are informed as a community, right? Yeah, we knew this was Highland Life. One more page, see what we got. It's a big deal. People are not excited about that. We talked about this yesterday too. Talked about that. Armored Core 6 apparently doing PvP very differently to traditional FromSoft games. See what's going on there. We've got this up already. Alright, let's dive into this. Whatever. Armored Core 6 is apparently doing PvP very differently to traditional FromSoft games. Leaked images of Armored Core 6. Let's turn off this music. Apologies. Let's go. Let's just rewind this. Start back over. Armored Core 6 is apparently doing PvP very differently to traditional FromSoft games. Images of the back of Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon's physical box have leaked in Japanese storefronts. And if we aren't being deceived, the box has revealed that the game will feature six-player PvP with spectators. The last Armored Core game to grace fans was Armored Core Verdict Day in 2013, making it an entire decade since our last dive into From Software's mech action series. Alas, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is arriving next month on August 25th, hopefully delivering more of the robust From Software gameplay that we know and love. That's just next month, and it looks like players have plenty to be excited for, especially given the fantastic new story trailer that dropped last week. Shut your mouth. First shared to the Armored Core subreddit, images of the upcoming game's box and physical Japanese retailers have leaked. If the leaks are to be believed, the back of the box details that PvP will be available for up to 6 players. On top of that, 3 spectators will be able to join and watch the action unfold. PvP, or any multiplayer for that matter, has not been confirmed by developer From Software. However, we've not long to wait whatsoever before we can check out the supposed PvP mode for ourselves. Will you be trying out some competitive PvP tournaments with friends? No, not off the bat, because From Software sucks at PC release. But maybe in the future. Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll get more on this very soon, I'm sure. Armored Core 6 is going to release very soon. We're getting more information, it seems like, every single week on that game, so. Starfield multiplayer exists, just not in the way we imagine. Starfield is shaping up to be one of the most highly anticipated video games in years, with hype and expectations being shot into the stratosphere. Of course, as with any highly anticipated video game release, the hype train can often derail at launch, whether the lofty expectations of the fan base are deemed reasonable or not. That being said, Bethesda will be hoping that it will have another hit on its hands and not a repeated Redfall launch. Yes. To be fair, Bethesda, it was the publisher of Redfall. And Arcane was the developer, not Bethesda, but it still was part of their... Because Arcane is their subsidiary. So, over the years, fans have been calling for some of Bethesda's most popular RPGs to have multiplayer, such as the likes of Elder Scrolls and Fallout series. Bethesda has delivered on fans' calls for multiplayer. Whew. Sorry, guys. To very mixed results. For example, while much better games now, both the Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 had troublesome launches, to say the least. Thankfully, from what we hear, both games are in a much better state now. As for the upcoming Starfield, some fans are hoping that it will feature some form of multiplayer component, despite being a single-player game only. Yet it seems that Starfield will have a form of multiplayer, well, kind of. You see, while Starfield won't have any multiplayer in the game, it seems that the community is already looking at ways to explore its galaxy together, albeit in different multiverses, if you will. Quote, we should make a Discord that's purely about role-playing exploration. After action reports, resources, and even other teams go to the same planet to verify information, pitched Panzer Commander on Reddit. That would be cool. Call it the Starport, where grizzled veteran spacers share tips and rumors. Yeah. So not the multiplayer that some fans would hope to see in Starfield. Yeah, it's not. This is definitely not even close to traditional. More like a online resource, like an active real-time community for resources regarding the game, as opposed to playing together multiplayer, which is, yeah, like with a game that will feature over 1,000 plans for players to discover. There's a lot of ground to cover in Bethesda, in Bethesda's sci-fi RPG. Whether this idea will take off remains to be seen, but we can certainly hope it does. I mean, it's a pretty safe bet, especially like on places like Reddit, things of that nature. People are going to be building databases and sharing that kind of stuff on places like Reddit, things of that, sites like that where people can access and contribute. And Discord, I'm guessing there will probably be some kind of Discord set up. In related news, fans are growing concerned following a wave of Starfield pre-orders being canceled. Some fans are already review bombing the game, despite being months away from release. September 6th, guys. September 6th, that's when we get Starfield. So, it's so crazy. People like review bombing. It's terrible that it happens. I mean, there are the few occasions where a game might deserve to have that happen. A developer might deserve to have that happen, but usually it's really not. It's usually just video game Karens out there just with nothing better to do. Super Mario Bros. Wonder release date, gameplay, and everything we know. The newest adventure of the Mushroom Kingdom is set to arrive this October. Super Mario Bros. Wonder release date has been revealed and it's set to arrive later this year, marking the first new addition to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise in over a decade. So, it's going to come out on October 20th on the Switch, obviously. Super Mario Bros. Wonder release date will mark 2 years since Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury launched on Switch, and 11 years since the last all-new 2D Super Mario Bros. Video game on Wii U. As a Nintendo Switch exclusive, obviously, Nintendo, the short insight into gameplay we have received appears to plan on utilizing the vibrant colors of the Nintendo Switch OLED to offer the best experience imaginable visually, alongside its smooth graphics when exploring the newest version of the Mushroom Kingdom. What you can also bet on is that if you buy this game right now for the Switch, you will have to buy it again for the next Nintendo console that comes out, because that's what Nintendo does. Despite how highly anticipated the title is, we've only received a single Super Mario Bros. Wonder trailer so far, shown as part of the Nintendo Direct on June 21st. Within the short 2.5-minute trailer, we get the first glimpse at which levels we can expect to explore throughout the game, alongside a number of enemies we can expect to encounter, and a few familiar power-ups we've seen in older games. Also get to witness a brand new power-up triggered by a new item called a Wonder Flower, which appears to bring life to levels and showcase spectacular moments you just have to see to believe. At the end of the trailer, we receive the release date for the game, October 20th, and a final look at one of Mario's newest abilities, Elephant Mario. Yep, we've seen this, but take a look. If you're not familiar yet, so hungry. Can't wait to eat. What are you guys eating for breakfast or lunch if it's lunchtime, or dinner if it's dinner time, or snack time if it's snack time, or just eating to eat if it's eat time? What do you guys, I mean, talk to me, talk food. You know what I like. You know what I want to hear. Talk food to me. The game's pretty. When are we going to get mods for Nintendo so we can put Chris Pratt's face on Mario moving forward in every game? You know. Bana bana bana. It is very pretty. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I mean, you know, we've talked about the Dolphin emulator thing for a while, right? I think the big thing for people to take away about the like emulator side of stuff is there's a reason why big developers haven't really, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit too. The Dolphin emulator thing is unfortunate. I mean, everybody knows, everybody that's been a part of this community for at least a substantial amount of time knows my stance on emulators, and you know there are legalities around it too, and most people know what the ins and outs of that are. If you own the hardware and software, you can use an emulator, and it's a great, emulators are great things for preserving video gaming history, because developers like Nintendo are terrible at preserving video gaming history, right? So that's where emulators play a critical role as far as I'm concerned. And something like Dolphin emulator is an emulator for old hardware, right? We're talking about the Wii and the GameCube, right? Isn't that what it was for? Wii and GameCube, I think. And it was supposed to be coming to Switch, is what Ferret's talking about, right? So it's still out there. It's not that you can't get your hands on Dolphin, but it was supposed to be coming to Steam. And I might have said Switch right there, but it's supposed to be coming to Steam. And that got shut down. Apparently, it was not just Nintendo coming to Steam, but Steam actually reaching out to Nintendo and going, is this okay? You know, because Steam doesn't want to get themselves in any trouble either. But there's this real weird, there's a lot of gray area for emulation. And the reason why big developers don't want to go to court with any of these emulator developers over emulation and the potential copyright violations behind it is because if they lose, which there's a good chance they will lose, if they lose, it sets a standard moving forward, a precedent moving forward. For that case in particular, would set this standard moving forward for what emulation would be able to do and get away with. After that fact. And developers know that there's a good chance that they could lose in that kind of court case. So it's a real weird situation. If they win, they're like, "Oh, cool, we win," and it's not going to stop pirating. Um, it's not going to stop pirating. People will always find a way. Emulation's kind of a weird niche because people do use it for pirating, and I don't agree with that. I think it's bad. If you're using it to circumvent paying for modern hardware and software, you're doing it wrong. That's not the right way. It's not healthy for the industry. I understand that developers have done wrong to us in the past. That's led to people doing pirating, stuff like that. But two wrongs don't make a right. There are better ways. We need better regulations in the industry to hold businesses accountable for giving us bad products. And we need to be better about not, we need to pay. They need to pay. That's the way this should go. So the emulation thing's weird. They know if they lose, dude, it's gonna be a bad situation for them, and what it means for us as gamers, and what emulation would be able to do moving forward. It's that it would open a whole Pandora's box for them as developers and everything, and that's why no real significant lawsuits have been opened from big developers against developers of emulation and emulators so far. It's a real slippery slope, man. But yeah, we've read about it. We've read about it a number of times, and we just read about more of it yesterday, man. It's in the news segment on the channel and on YouTube if you want to check it out. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It sucks that it's not there because, again, Ferret, you and I feel the same way. We always have. Nintendo's terrible. They're terrible about taking access away from people. And then it's like, but don't you dare try to go find another way to play historic gaming content, Even though we're not going to give you a way to access it legally, we're just going to remove access. But don't you go use an emulator to access it either. It's Nintendo's the worst about that kind of stuff, man. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. Story of Mario Brothers Wonder is still a bit of a mystery and isn't covered in great detail within the single trailer we've received for the game. That said, since it follows a traditional 2D Mario game appearance, we can generally expect a similar storyline following protecting the Mushroom Kingdom from evil forces that may be attempting to destroy the piece. That would be a new twist, huh? We do know that characters outside of the titular Mario are available to play: Yoshi, Luigi, Toad, Princess Peach, and Princess Daisy. Whether or not more protagonists will join the roster is currently unclear, and which abilities and how you'll be able to play as other characters is currently unknown. Alongside the story, we can expect more information to come to surface about the playability of other characters in due course. The new item for the game, the Wonder Flower, adopts a similar appearance to items such as the Ice and Fire Flower, but emits an almost galactic glow rather than a solid color. In addition, it doesn't appear to be produced from question mark blocks in the same way other Mario items are, and instead appears out of thin air when you find yourself in a somewhat emptier environment, going off of its debut in the reveal trailer. When activated, the Wonder Flower is said to trigger spectacular moments within the game's intricately designed environments, which you wouldn't be able to experience otherwise. These environmental enhancements can take the form of anything from bringing tubes to life to granting Mario the ability to transform into other objects, such as a giant spiky ball, which helps clear the path. Full extent of Wonder abilities and events are still yet to be discovered. There's also an item called a Wonder Seed introduced in the trailer, but what exactly these are used for is unclear. Obviously, Elephant Mario stole the show towards the end of the trailer. Um, but we don't know exactly what all that'll be able to do yet either. Um, that's the gist of it, man. I'll link this for you guys if you want more. If you're really interested in this, want to look more of it. Me either, bro. Look, um, I'll kind of attribute like the same way I've addressed Zelda over the years is kind of the same way Mario has been for me. Nintendo is kind of that way for me. It's like I started off early years doing a lot of Nintendo gaming, a lot of Mario, a lot of Zelda, stuff like that, and then I kind of just fell away from it. Um, and so there's an amount of it that I'm just not experienced on. I know of, but I just don't have experience in or on, and lore is a part of that as well. So, hey, brother, me and you, I'm right there with you, dog. BattleBit Remastered Update adds new map and mode. Patch notes revealed. One of Steam's most popular games of the year, BattleBit Remastered, has just received a big update that adds a new map and mode. By all accounts, BattleBit is one of the biggest sleeper hits of 2023 and has continued to amass a consistently large player base on PC since arriving a little more than a month ago. Yeah, this game is a banger, dude. It's really, it's poly Battlefield is what it is. So it take like Battlefield, mash it up with almost like a Minecraft vibe. It's not quite as low poly as Minecraft is or tends to be, but it's poly nonetheless. It looks good. It plays very well. It's well developed. It really is, and it's a lot of fun. It's funny. The environment's destructible. It's basically everything you would want out of a Battlefield game, especially the fact that it doesn't have EA attached to it. So I'm so glad that this game's doing very well. You know, as a way of keeping up that momentum, the game's latest patch gives players even more content to dive into, available to download. And by the way, this is an indie game as well. There are 3 people that developed this game together, 3 individuals, and the game is a banger. It's really good. Available to download now on Steam. BattleBit Remastered patch version 1.9.3 has been let loose. As mentioned, the 2 most notable aspects of this update involve the addition of the new map, Motu Islands, alongside the implementation of Capture the Flag. Outside of these 2 big implementations, everything else tied to this new update looks to fix various bugs and make a handful of other gameplay changes. A new game mode, Capture the Flag, the new map, Motu Islands, Capture the Flag. If flag is carried over to any safe zone, main base, etc., it will be auto-teleported back to flag spawn point to prevent someone keeping the flag in safe zone. UI improvements for Capture the Flag. The spectator mode has been further improved. Player lag has been improved during rope climbing. The issue where turrets, helicopters, etc. were incorrectly counted as shots fired and stats have been fixed. Spawning on players will not be rewarded until the game starts. Tanks will no longer apply torque when the wheels are not touching the ground. Bullets will only pass through 50% damage when shot through vehicle windows. Salhan southern area city buildings were replaced with more durable ones that will block line of sight from A even after destroying it. Salhan and Furgus objectives adjustments based on players' feedback to avoid spawn camping. Valley Domi 16 versus 16 layout tweaked. Same thing for Eduardovo. Namek roof exploit fixed, and incorrect naming of support armor 00 a big fixed. So there you go. There's the gist of your BattleBit Remastered update. All right. Oh, you did? Yo, okay. Fill me in, dude. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Classic Nintendo GameCube games seemingly heading to PC. It looks like a pair of classic JRPG titles that released on the GameCube nearly 20 years ago could finally be heading to PC for the first time ever. Bandai announced, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster, which is a collection of the GameCube games Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wings, and Lost Ocean and Origins. Upon being revealed, Bandai Namco shared that this bundle would only be coming to Switch platforms, which made sense given the franchise's history on GameCube. Based on a new leak, though, it seems that Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 could also be heading to PC as well. So here we go. So it got rated in South Africa. A new list of classified games were listed. While most of the titles on this list have already been announced, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster also happened to be rated, but not solely for Switch. Instead, this forthcoming remaster was also rated for PC, which is something that Bandai Namco hasn't announced just yet. This is the kind of stuff that we find out all the time. It's just like the recent, we found out so Red Dead Redemption got re-rated, and it was in South Korea. And there's been no official announcement. We didn't even know this was coming, right? But when a game gets re-rated or a game gets rated, and this is how we find out information that maybe we weren't necessarily supposed to know yet. But usually it'll happen in countries like South Korea, South Africa. Sometimes it'll be like Brazil, because these are places where games will get rated before other parts of the world. So we get information tidbits like this, right? Oh, hey, thanks, Ferret. Thanks, man. Yeah, cool. I'll check that out, dude, whenever I bring that article up. Thanks, buddy. So assuming that this listing is accurate, it suggests that both the Baten Kaitos games will be making their debut on a PC platform for the first time ever. This isn't an official announcement, though, but it does carry a lot of weight. So if you need more, if you were excited about that game and maybe would have rather played it on PC, you might be in luck. It's there in chat if you want it. Steam free games. Download and keep 12 titles right now. Usually these are pretty obscure. A lot of prologue stuff. Prologue for Citizens on Mars. Better than a demo, but it's still not the full game. Try Again, Shattered Legacy, Mini Golf Aeons, Say Feud, Mystery Society 2, Gangster Coin Pusher, Soul Detective, Calamity Creatures, War for Galaxy, Tay-Sun Dynasty, Tales of Cena. These are all free games apparently you can get on Steam. Go take a look. Here's the thing. Free content is free content. There's nothing to scoff about that. You know, in the world we live in with video games, cost is constantly driving up for everything. You know, it's free software is good. But usually whenever we come across these articles that have to do with free Steam games, it's not the same kind of quality we usually get out of like an Epic Games giveaway, which are usually substantial to very, very good games. But it's free content. There's no reason to not grab it. It's free. It only takes a few minutes of time. The link is there. The difference being usually these games are kind of obscure. They either don't have very many reviews or they'll be like moderately reviewed. You know what I mean? They're not real notable titles. So you might have to do some digging to find out what to expect in these kinds of games. Things like that. Okay. It's there in chat though for you. It's a VR game. All right, nice. Thanks, man. Steam fans rush to grab one of the best games in a genre, and it's absolutely free. We might have already touched on this. Yeah, dude. So you can actually go to Sega's website, sign up for their newsletter. I think I put this in our Discord, actually. Did I put this in our Discord? Yeah, it's in the Gamer Deals section already. So if you go to Sega's website, you can, in the Gamer Deal channel of our Discord, you can, I've already linked this, but basically, all the way through the end of the month, you just got to go to Sega. You can sign up for their newsletter, and you can get Sega Bass Fishing for free on Steam. Yeah, so I'll link this right now. Again, we've already covered this. It is in our Discord as well. So there you go. which was originally a Dreamcast game, I think. Pretty sure. Diablo 4 developer, Blizzard, on patch 1.1.0, we know it's not fun. Blizzard wanted to stop players from blasting through content. What? D4's game director, associate game director, and community manager confronted players' problems with the game's most recent patch, conceding that D4 is not fun now. Released on July 20th, patch 1.1.0 significantly decreased Diablo 4 players' damage output and survivability. And Sorcerer players felt specifically targeted as one of the weaker classes from the get-go. Speaking in an unscheduled campfire chat about the response to the patch, the 3 team members expressed their regret over the mix-up between Blizzard's goals for the game and players' entertainment in the world of Sanctuary. Yeah, I mean, like I haven't played this, but usually, I mean, traditionally Diablo has different difficulty playthroughs, and I don't know if this game does the same thing. No, traditionally, the Diablo games were like you'd play through on normal, then you go through nightmare versions, and then hell modes and stuff like that. But I don't know if D4 does that. You know, um, I'm guessing probably not, but I could be wrong too. Let's keep reading and see here. We want to acknowledge everyone's feedback in regarding to reducing player power, said community manager Adam Fletcher. We know it is bad. We know it is not fun. We also want to talk about what we were trying to achieve specifically with this patch and the changes that players ended up seeing. And then separately, we do want to also talk about how we don't plan on doing a patch like this ever again. Blizzard's intention was to prevent D4 players from blasting through content with their specialized builds, and it aims to address the most pressing of players' issues within 2 weeks. Presently, the Nightmare Dungeon difficulty has been rectified, and buffs to underuse Sorcerer and Barbarian legendary aspects, an additional stash tab, an increase to the Elixir stack size to 99, and a dip in the cost to respec gold will arrive in patch 1.1.1. Sorcerer's Devouring Blaze skill was not discussed, however, which will likely rub these players the wrong way, as this lets them actually attack effectively in the end game against the strongest enemies in the game. In other gaming news, yeah, okay, we're going to talk about this too. This is coming up. But this is this is a result of Blizzard not being prepared enough. After all the betas they did, all the testing they did, they decided they didn't like how powerful players were building their characters. Is basically what this comes down to. So they said it's time to debuff. After how long this game has been out, and after all that initial testing and everything, they said we want to debuff, right? Apparently significantly debuff. And yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know that the entire like player base for the beta would have just like been able to get on the same page and be like, "Yo, let's bait these guys into thinking that this feels okay, and then we'll just run the best builds on release." You know, is that what you mean? I doubt it, but maybe. I don't know. Um, I think you're kind of trolling there a little bit too, but I mean, this is one of those things. There's always any kind of game like this is gonna have balancing. You know what I mean? I think that's to be expected. Oh yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. No, you're really yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. The people there are people that like are insanely good at min maxing and making builds that are stupid powerful. And then everybody else mimics that. They emulate those builds. Those people will put those builds out, and then people just find those guides and run that same exact build. That's the way these games work. Whether it be Diablo or Path of Exile or whatever. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ferret. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Could have been, dude. But this doesn't seem like a situation where it's just like one or two builds or something that got like debuffed. It seems like the sorcerer in particular maybe more than the others, but it seems like as a whole maybe that's at least the way the article kind of read to me, was like as a whole the game has been tweaked. So I don't know. There's not a whole lot of detailed information in here either. You can probably get the gist of it from what these guys are saying in the video. How long is this video? An hour and 40 minutes almost. Really suck at min-max builds. I don't have the patience for it. It usually takes an amount of sitting down, using like build calculators, and really taking your time to dive through and look at different skill sets, and knowing you got to have a lot of knowledge too about the different kinds of equipment and stuff in the game, and you know, I don't have the patience for it, dude. I just want to play what's fun, you know. I just want to play what seems fitting for my personality, my preferences, and as long as it doesn't feel like stupid weak, then I'll be okay. That's more me, you know. But I respect the crap out of the people that are really really good at doing the min maxing stuff, because it's an impressive thing that they do. It really is. I've talked about you know, there's a streamer goes by the name of Datmods, and I used to watch Datmods play Path of Exile a lot before I started streaming, and he's very very good at build crafting. You know, theory crafting builds. Every time a new season would come up on Path of Exile, you know, he would get the patch notes, he would get build calculators, you know, to where you could like plan out your builds and stuff. And just watching him go through that process and the amount of knowledge he had about the different equipment in the game and stuff like that, it was insane, dude. And he would always play like hardcore and stuff. It was really, really crazy, man, watching somebody like that be that good, man. So I can relate. Me and you, buddy, dude, we're right there together, dog. It's like, you know, but I love watching people do it. You know, it's really neat. I don't know. I wonder how much of the population is really upset about this, or if it's just like the top of the population that's like, oh, you just blasted all of us most powerful players. You know, I wonder what this really is coming down to. I'll link it for you guys. Here we go. Baldur's Gate 3 should not set the standard for role playing games, warns game developers. Whoa, this is an anomaly. Should it not set the standard, or do developers not want it to set the standard because they are afraid of the, you know, what people are going to expect out of a good RPG? You know what I mean? Game developers have clubbed together to explain that Baldur's Gate 3 should not create a raised standard for other role-playing games due to the upcoming game's large scale. Xalavier and Nelson Jr., accomplished independent developer and founder of Strange Scaffold, took to Twitter to explain that Baldur's Gate 3 is an abnormal game. Oh yeah, you're good, Ferret. No worries, buddy. Thanks for that message on Discord too, dude. I'll bring that up. To exemplify this, Larian Studios began work on the new entry in the series in 2017, using 7 different studios with over 400 developers, and benefited from a significant volume of fan feedback in a 3-year early access period. Yeah. like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished with Baldur's Gate 3, but I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. Additionally, the Belgian developer and publisher had learned a lot from the successful Divinity series, as well as delivering the enhanced and definitive editions of Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, respectively. This is not a new baseline for RPGs, this is an anomaly, argued Nelson Jr., encouraging players to celebrate the achievement of Baldur's Gate 3, but not to consider this as the new standard for all RPGs. Grimlore Games senior narrative designer Rebecca Harwick spoke in support of Nelson Jr.'s statements. You can't be appalled about how much big games cost to make and make those lavish productions the standard by which all games are judged. I hope Baldur's Gate 3 is a generous once-in-a-lifetime RPG. I hope no one expects a 10, 20, 40-person team to make one. Peter, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? What up, dude? However, fans felt divided. Some said the consumer decides what the new standard should be, while others agreed the points about the unusual development of Baldur's Gate 3, but asserted that fans would want games of their favorite genre to get better and better. I think that's what we all want, right? I'm gonna express a sentiment here in a moment. Baldur's Gate 3 recently revealed that there are 17,000 possible endings for the game, which isn't so surprising when remembering that there is triple the cinematic dialogue than all 3 of the Lord of the Rings books in the RPG. Yeah. Waiting for go time at work. Word, brother. Righteous. So, yeah, I think that it's going to be unrealistic for people to expect all RPGs to be of this scale, right? Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be incredibly massive. And just because a game isn't on the same scale doesn't mean it won't be good, right? Will it be quite as immersive? Will you get quite as much gameplay out of it? No, it doesn't mean it won't be good either. This is progression in the industry, though. This is what we look for. So it maybe doesn't need to be looked at as setting a new standard for what every game should be. But if this game, and look, Baldur's Gate 3 hasn't even released yet, right? So this game hasn't even released yet. But if this game is very good, and from my own experience, when it comes to games, especially CRPGs, traditional type CRPGs, like what Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be, I want a large game. I want a game that is very immersive, choices matter, very good character-driven narratives, things of that nature, right? Where, everything that you do in the world has an effect on what overall transpires. The way you interact with your party members, the way you interact with NPCs, the way you interact with choices for quests and I want all of that to have an effect on the world and the end game as well. And that's what this game appears that it's going to be. I'll attribute it to something very similar to the Pillars of Eternity series, which are amazing CRPGs if you haven't played them. They're fantastic. They're very, very, very good. Are they perfect? No, but they're really, really good. And look, it's going to be hard for smaller studios to touch the scale of a game like this. This game's been in development for a very long time, and from a very big developer too. So if you can put those hand in hand, you've got a massive developer, and the amount of time it took them to make a game of this scale, you're not going to be able to do that with a smaller studio, really. It's just not feasible, right? It doesn't mean that RPGs can't still take from a good quality standard. This game setting a nice standard for what RPGs should be. I don't think that, I think that that's what people have to take away here. You can't expect every game to be Baldur's Gate 3. You can't expect every RPG to be Baldur's Gate 3. right? But we want this game to be good. And we want this game to be setting the bar and setting a new standard for developers to reach for, right? And for developers to emulate. Does it mean they're all going to be able to match exactly what Baldur's Gate 3 potentially will be? No. But it's not a bad thing to have a great standard for developers to reach towards. I think that's the difference between what we have to take away here. It's obvious that not all developers are going to be able to match this. It's a massive scale game. There are a lot of people that have worked on this for a very long time. And people should not expect every RPG to be of this magnitude, right? But to set some standards for goals for other RPG developers to reach for is a good thing. We need good games coming out to set standards. And I'll tell you this, I think more often than not nowadays, it's the indie developers that are the ones that really set the bar. They're the ones that set the standards for the gaming industry nowadays. They've got the more inventive, creative, immersive, fantastic. We just played a game that blew me away. A game that, honestly, Dave the Diver is what I'm talking about. That was so refreshing because it's one of those games that I don't experience the culmination of so much greatness in a single title come together very often anymore. Great story, very funny, amazing artwork, inventive gameplay, a lot of different types of gameplay together, where it was every single day I played the game, I experienced something new. It's those types of things. I really do think that the indie developers, the smaller development teams, are the ones that are really, really setting the groundwork for what gaming is and needs to be moving forward. Now, are indie developers normally going to be able to create games of this scale? Absolutely not. Because the teams are just too small. It would take them an enormous amount of time to get a game like this pushed out. But it's not bad for a game like this, as long as it's good, to set standards as well, to give developers something to reach towards, right? Even if they can't meet that same scale and magnitude of something like Baldur's Gate 3, in my opinion. Armored Core 6 physical discs leak ahead of media embargo. Posted by Twitter user at Zoystrom1, new leaked images of the Armored Core 6 physical disc box suggest the game could have 2 to 6 players in multiplayer plus an additional 3-player as spectator. We already kind of talked about this. But yeah, the leak comes just days before a media embargo of the game lifts, which is scheduled to release on Tuesday, July 25th. Armored Core 6 cases have been spotted in the wild. According to the description, the game will support up to 6-player multiplayer with 3 spectators. Yeah. This isn't official, but it does seem this way. We're seeing a lot of reports come out like this now. And we'll get more on this as the game rolls out, okay? It looks like Insomniac is actually working on a 3rd game at this point, alongside Spider-Man and Wolverine. Spider-Man 2 is about to release, which is awesome. There are a lot of fans of Spider-Man. Insomniac's done a great job on those games. I think it'll probably be a banger. A lot of people are excited for it. I'm excited for it to release, not because I'm going to play it, but because I want them to be focused on Wolverine. I cannot wait for a standalone Wolverine game. I'm so glad that Insomniac is the development studio behind it, even though it'll probably end up being a proprietary PlayStation game. It will come out on PC at some point, and that's exciting to me. Insomniac, this is how much how much disdain I have for EA. EA makes a lot of Marvel games. They're actually developing 2 right now in the Black Panther, and or should I say, they're going to be publishing. They have their subsidiary studios working on 2 Marvel games, Black Panther game and Iron Man game. And I just cannot stand EA, dude. Do they occasionally pop out a decent game? Yeah. But most of the time, they're mediocre at best, and quite often pretty terrible releases. We saw here recently with Jedi Survivor, Respawn did Jedi Survivor. EA published it. It was a hot piece of crap. It still is. And they've already got Respawn working on a new Jedi game before they've even fixed Jedi Survivor. This is what EA does. This is what they do to their subsidiaries and everything. They turn them into these just terrible studios, man. And I'm glad that Insomniac is going to be the one making Wolverine. I cannot wait for it. I would much rather it come out on PlayStation and me not be able to play it on PC for a while than it be an EA game. So apparently a third unannounced title. According to a live stream held by Full Sail University last September, which is just now being circulated on social media, in the stream, project director Aaron Eberhardt claimed that they were helming an unannounced project at the studio. Eberhardt previously worked on PlayStation Now and Sony Interactive Entertainment, as well as Blizzard's esports initiative. This is actually my first AAA game project now. I'm the project director here on an unannounced project, Eberhardt said on the stream. I'm very excited to actually be making the games now. Eberhardt joined Insomniac just before the studio began advertising for a multiplayer project. Insomniac is officially working on a pair of Marvel titles, but is best known for the Ratchet & Clank series, the last entry of which released in 2021. Outside of those franchises, Insomniac also worked on 2014's Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. In 2021, Sunset Overdrive was successfully registered by Sony at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Although the trademark registry isn't indicative of any plans to revive the game, it coincided closely with Sunset Overdrive's director rejoining Insomniac the same year. Okay, well, that's not much to go off of there for what this new title is, but it's going to have a lot of people speculating, man. Yeah. All right. This is the last article I have. We're going to talk about this for a bit as I'll get into why I have this up and why we're going to discuss this. But if anybody has anything else to add for video gaming news for today, then let me know in chat. I'll address it before we move on and start playing Fallout New Vegas day one, all right? So, I have recently talked about PlayStation's Project Q a bit and how I feel that it's underwhelming. It's just a DualSense controller with a screen embedded in the middle of it. It's not a true handheld. I really wish that most outlets would quit calling it a handheld. It's not a handheld. It's a remote access device. And what I had said previously was that it feels bad because I was not aware that PlayStation apparently has a remote play system. And I was comparing what I felt like PlayStation should have been doing first and foremost before pushing out remote play devices is have a remote play system in place for its consumers, much like Steam has for like the Steam Link or, that kind of embedded system for players before they ever worked on trying to push out devices. But I started thinking about it last night and I was like, I haven't been on PlayStation's platform in a while. I've moved away from console quite a bit because I find the console industry to be fairly scummy. And I started diving into this and looking into this a bit because I don't want to be also trashing a company for something that I might not be educated on. So last night I looked into it a bit, and apparently PlayStation does have what's called remote play. Now, as I start trying to do a little bit of research on it, it doesn't seem as fleshed out as something like Steam Link is, but it does seem like something. And one of my big criticisms about Project Q from PlayStation was that I didn't think they had any kind of remote access remote play system in place before they were ever trying to push out this piece of hardware in Project Q. And that was one of my big issues, was that first and foremost, they should have been giving their consumer quality of life in that realm before they start trying to promote devices that gave you that capability that you would have to pay substantial amounts of money for, right? And so apparently there is. Now, I've got something here from my buddy Ferret as well. I have no experience with this application, this platform at all for remote play. I do have a lot of experience with Steam Link, which is a remote play for Steam's platform on PC, and it's very, very good. So Ferret does have a friend. Our buddy Ferret has a friend that has used remote play and has expressed this sentiment. I'm going to read this. This is a quote from one of Ferret's friends that has utilized and accessed remote play, and we'll look more into it here on their site as well. Basically, you have to download the remote play app onto your phone or computer. From there, you're able to connect with your PlayStation, which is usually a simple process based on what kind of internet you're connected to, though it can be tricky to figure out if you don't know networking more than the average person. And that's what I had kind of read as well. And that's unfortunate, because the thing for most people that are locked into the console world is that they buy into console because they're not real tech savvy. They don't want to dive into the intricacies of what PC has to offer. They like plug and play. So therefore, a lot of people that are probably buying into, I would say the majority probably, not all, but the majority of people that probably buy into Sony's console, if they have any kind of issues with setting up remote play and needing to dive into configuring network settings and stuff, they're not going to do it because it's kind of out of their realm of knowledge or even want to dive into this kind of thing. After you're all connected, you can either connect a controller to your device or just use whatever medium already exists, such as M&K, mouse and keyboard for computer, or those joystick like adapters for a phone, and you're good to go. Like I said, I used it some whenever I was away from my place. Need to do something simple like collect a mod back whenever or check on a settlement in No Man's Sky. Any more than that, it's pretty laggy, nearly impossible to use, especially on a phone, though I'm sure computer would probably be all right too. Okay, so it does seem quite archaic in its inception and their actual, the way they've rolled it out. It doesn't seem very fleshed out. It doesn't seem real intuitive. And it doesn't seem like a great system for people to use on the regular. Now, it's something for them to work off of, but and it's at least more than what I thought they had in the first place. So, Destiny 2. Okay, yeah, that's what I was kind of figuring, but I wasn't sure. Thanks for it. So, and thanks very much, dude, for sending me that info, and tell your buddy thanks as well, man. I appreciate it. The difference being, like, Steam Link, dude, is so easy. Steam Link is so easy. Whether you're using it used to be hardware, right? Steam Link was so easy. It was a little box. I've got a couple of them. You plugged them into a power source. You plugged in the whatever display cable, HDMI is what most of them had. Display HDMI to whatever. It could be a monitor, it could be a TV, it could be whatever you wanted. And it just connected through your wireless network, or you could even hardwire it, whatever. And then it had other USB ports on it, so you could plug in whatever controller you wanted. It could be wireless dongles, it could be a wired controller, it could be whatever you wanted. And as long as that network could find your PC, your PC device that was running Steam on it, it just allows you to select that PC that's running Steam, and boom, you're right into playing your games on whatever other device is running Steam Link. Now it's an application. You don't even need the hardware anymore. You don't even have to pay for it. It's just a quality of life feature. And from what I understand, the remote play app is actually like $5 or $6 too. So if you want to download it, NVIDIA has GeForce Experience. Right. Yeah, I don't have experience with that one, but I've heard of it. Yeah. And this is like, so again, at least PlayStation has something, but it doesn't seem very intuitive. It doesn't seem fully fleshed out. It doesn't, and look, the remote access technology has been around for a decade, really, from the consumer standpoint, right? Like, this has been rolling out to us as a consumer for around a decade, maybe a little bit less from a consumer standpoint, but the technology's been there for well over, and it's being rolled out for close to a decade now, and to the point of where now, like I said, with Steam, it's an application. As long as you have like which all TVs nowadays are smart TVs too, you know, fully remote access to an environment for you to play on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So all you have to do is like put Steam in big picture mode, go to wherever else in the house you have, your Steam Link application set up, or on whatever device you have it set up on, your phone or whatever. Pop it on, boom. It's your remote access to your games or whatever and your platform. And this seems not quite as fleshed out, which is unfortunate. I would want to see personally PlayStation have their remote access features much more intuitive for their users before they even start trying to push out remote access devices, I don't think it always costs money. I think there are certain occasions. What I read is that, like, if you want to download the app and stuff on certain devices, the app actually does cost money. I think it's just a one-time download for what it costs and everything. Let's watch this real quick and see what this says. How long is this? A minute? Let's see what this is. Yeah, I mean, this is what you want, right? This is what I talk about. Like, this is what you want out of your platforms you're buying into. This technology has been around for a long time, and this is what you want as quality of life of something you're buying into a platform. But you shouldn't. I mean, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to buy into devices for this. You shouldn't have to buy into an app either. This should be something they give you. If you're buying a $500-$600 console, right? Especially, then there should be quality of life for you, right? And Peter, that's not confirmed from like I just read that last night. The other thing I did read is some of the same stuff that Ferret's friend relayed to us, is that there was an amount of lag in it. It wasn't the greatest experience. There is a lot of usually network configuration stuff you need to work through to try to get it to work right. And it just feels bad, dude. And I think before they ever started rolling out devices like Project Q for this, they really should have gotten this platform configured correctly. To be fair, I'll apologize to everybody for thinking that they didn't have anything like this rolled out at all. But that was a misplay on my part. I don't want to misinform people, dude. I really don't. Yeah, it should be free, but never know nowadays. Yeah, well, and I mean, let's be fair. One of the things I talk about all the time is that, if you're ever going to get something like this, which in my opinion should be quality of life for you, Because look, how much does it suck that, and just think about this concept, right? Think about this concept. You're buying into a platform. You're buying into a platform that costs a substantial amount of money. And if you want to play that platform, obviously most people are going to be setting this up in their main living area, entertainment area, whatever, on a big TV or something like that. But in the event that you maybe just wanted to go like lay down and chill in your room and play a game while you were like relaxing in bed or something, that's not easy to do without this kind of quality of life, right? And if you don't have this incorporation, you have to move the entire console into another room or buy another one for that matter, right? And again, with how long this technology has been out there, cell connection. Oh, okay, yeah, ferret. Yeah, okay. Um, well, I'd heard the same kind of stuff through even local connection. What I was just reading some different things for through like online communities and stuff like that. It didn't seem like the most intuitive, well implemented program. But I haven't experienced it either. Just going off of what I've read. So if I can get more people that have had experience using this kind of thing, I would love feedback, right? I'm just going off of what I've read online, what other people have told me. At least it's something. But again, I think that this is the thing that you're talking about here. This is something that, in my opinion, should be a big part of what we buy in the year 2023. And as advanced as we are with technology, and as long as certain other platforms, this is kind of what I was getting at, Peter, should be free but never know nowadays. PC, dude, is where you're almost always going to get this kind of thing for free. And console is almost always where you're going to just expect to have to pay for this kind of thing. This is the big difference I see nowadays between PC gaming and console gaming. I don't disagree with you at all, but I think there's a big difference between these two sides of video gaming nowadays. Console, this kind of thing, they're going to make you pay for as much of it as possible. PC, usually it's going to be a quality of life thing where they're trying to hook you up with some cool features for nothing. It's the same thing as like console. You want to play online with friends? Better pay for it. PC, usually that's not the case. It's just part of gaming. You know what I mean? You're already paying for an internet connection. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. Thanks, Ferret. Yeah, nice, dude. Thank you. Thanks for giving me that information. Yeah. So free on the Android store. Good, good. But a 3.3 rating. That is not fantastic. That'd be out of a 5. We would have to pull up reviews and stuff like that too. I would just like to know people's personal experience. Even, I mean, dude, that's a great start right there, Ferret, too, with your friend. I really appreciate that. Please relay that thanks as well, buddy. So it's something. Don't get me wrong. It's better than nothing, and it doesn't seem like they're really making people pay for it, but it doesn't seem like a real intuitive process or a really greatly rolled out piece of technology for their consumer either, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't seem nearly as easy as something like I've experienced with Steam Link, just from what I've read. But it's something, right? But I would like to see them get this further along for their consumer base before they start pushing out $300 remote access devices too. It's like, come on, man. Do better. I don't think Xbox has anything like this, do they? Does Xbox have remote play? I guess they kind of do. I mean, it would make sense for them to, because I mean, they're Windows and everything, right? So yeah, Xbox Remote Play. Hold on. Okay, so Xbox Remote Play as well. Nice. Play games from your console straight to your PC, phone, or tablet over the internet with Xbox Remote Play. I mean, it would seem intuitive for them to have this kind of thing. Oh yeah, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks. So it's just the Xbox app is all you need, huh? I wonder how this experience is for people too. I've never used this. Okay, interesting. Well, that's good. That's good. I had never even. I mean, it seems just like a no brainer that they would have this kind of technology rolled out, but I never hear of anybody using it. I haven't used it because I mean I've been working my way out of the console realm for a while now. It's just unfortunately, but you know, it's good to see this stuff. It seems like PlayStation has a little bit of some polishing to do on their side of it, but I don't know. You know, I would like to get feedback from people on their experience with the console side of remote play even further. You know, it might just be one of those things where people just aren't familiar with it. You know, controller with phone holder. I know, isn't this weird? Isn't that weird? Yeah, I know. I always it always makes me a little bit weirded out to see that too. But well, I mean, phones are very powerful nowadays, dude, and people are on the go all the time. So I mean, it makes sense too. But I think that just the controller attached to the phone like this is the weirdest thing. Like having the controller, like the PlayStation one that snaps onto the side of the phone, is just more logical to me than like this is. You know? Do you? Very nice, dude. Nice. Yeah. So I think that I mean, I don't even know how long this stuff has been rolled out. I think that was my problem was like, I just never hear about it, you know, ever, dude. I never hear, it's never promoted as something that like I've been exposed to from the PlayStation side. And you guys know me, man. I'm all about like I'm always in the gaming sphere of stuff, dude. Dude, I never hear PlayStation promoting their stuff. I never hear Xbox promoting their stuff. You know, exactly. Yeah, that's why I didn't even look into Nintendo, dude. Uh, so and look, I mean, on that note, I've even said I think that Xbox needs to get away from doing traditional hardware. It doesn't make sense for them anymore. They need to do something more like the Steam Deck or the Switch. It just fits their profile better, dude. In my opinion, traditional console just doesn't work for Xbox anymore. They need. I mean, hardware is good enough. Switch is great. The hardware is terrible, dude. They tried to run the hardware out way too long, in my opinion. You know, Switch is absolutely it has been a trend setting thing for the industry. I mean, you look at how many different industries or companies, developers have emulated what the Switch is. It is an absolute. I mean, it was ahead of its time, really, a little bit, if you ask me. It's well beyond time for an upgrade. That's always the trade off for mobile stuff. Is it's not going to be as you have to think power saving over. You have to think efficiency. You have to think efficiency over just swallowing TDP and pushing out as much performance as possible. That's always the trade-off, or it always has been, especially back when the Switch was initially developed. Because Switch is almost 8 years old now. The hardware in it's almost 9 years old now. You know, Yeah, yeah, fair. Yeah, I remember that too. And so, I mean, you can now even see that, like, since the Switch was originally rolled out, dude, we've had significant. The Switch is I'm not downing the Switch for what it is, what it was. It's an amazing device, and it is an absolute game changer for the industry. It has been a phenomenal thing, and for Nintendo themselves. Um, but since its inception and release and everything over the past 8 years, mobile technology has, I mean, evolved drastically. And it's never going to, you're always going to have to trade off efficiency for battery life and everything, right? For as much performance. But there's less of a trade off, much less of a trade off today than there ever was back then. And you can see things like, you know, from what the Switch was 8 years ago to what the Steam Deck was, what, about 3 years ago, right? I think it was 2 to 3 years ago, to what the Asus ROG Ally is that just released. It's You can see the evolution of what mobile gaming technology is and has become, and that trade-off for efficiency and power saving to performance has become smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's coming up on it, Peter. Yeah, coming up on it. It was 7 years ago, but it's coming up on 8 years. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And the hardware in the Switch is even older. The hardware that they put in the Switch was even older than the Switch was, right? So I mean, and which is significant because it is mobile hardware. And at that time back then, and mobile hardware doesn't age as well either because it is less power dependent, more efficient and stuff. It doesn't age as well. Nice, Poison. What's up, my friend? Hey guys, I really appreciate it. This is look, I always want to become more educated about the things that we are diving into, and I found a little bit of time last night while I was working on some other stuff to, it kind of hit me, and I was like, I need to make sure that I'm not misinforming and just not being ignorant about this situation, and I was being ignorant about the PlayStation state of things. I didn't know they had a remote play feature. That was ignorant on my part, and I'll apologize for that straight up to PlayStation. I think they need some more polishing here. I think they've got some work to do still on this front. But that was an ignorant take on my part. I should have researched more before I started talking about something that I wasn't informed on. You know, I always try to do my best to be as educated as possible whenever I speak on things, but there's always the potential for me to make mistakes, and this is one where I obviously did make a mistake, and trying to rectify that situation. So I don't know. Thanks, guys, for all the help here and fleshing this out. If anybody has any more experience with the remote play from the console side of things, I mean, I would love to hear more about it. So, come bring it to us, man. Let's talk about it. That's the news, baby. That's the news. We're gonna go play Fallout New Vegas day one. I'm pretty excited. Oh, you had the see-through purple 64. Nice, dude. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Peter. I agree. If you're not learning from your mistakes, dude, you're losing. That's in my opinion what life is supposed to be about. The first thing about it is, like, you have to be able to admit that you've made a mistake, though. You have to be able to get past that pride of a lot of people have an issue with pride, and it keeps people from being able to admit that they might have made a mistake. So I think that that's like the first step behind it. Being able to admit that you might have messed up, and then you can actually learn and move forward and try to be better as you move forward. I think a lot of people have an issue with that. So I try to be as good about that as I can. But yeah, I mean, we're all human, man. We all make mistakes. Yeah. Um, so You guys rock. Thanks. Great news segment. Let's pop some music out. Let's get some music going. What are we listening to here? Let's go, dude. No. There we go. The Orb from the Ghost Runner OST. Let's go, baby. You guys are amazing. Thanks. Great news segment. Again, I apologize for the ignorance on my part from the remote play side of the console stuff before, especially to PlayStation and Sony. But we're getting educated and we're moving forward, and we'll be better about that as we keep going. You guys rock. Thanks for being a part of what we do. If anybody is checking out this news segment live right now, or maybe later as a VOD, we've got all of our content, man. Video gaming news segments, which we always kick off our streams with, or gaming content, which always follows our video gaming news segments. You know, all that stuff, along with funny clips and highlights, all that content is on our Twitch channel here in playlists, or in playlists on our YouTube channel as well. If you're enjoying any of that content or this right now, then we'd love to have you come be a part of what we do on the constant, man, when we go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day but Wednesdays. So 6 days a week, we go live at 6 a.m. CST, 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. We always kick it off with video gaming news. Try to stay current on what's going on in the industry, and then we move on into whatever gameplay we have planned for the rest of the day. Starting Fallout New Vegas right now, we'll be finishing up Grounded with our buddy and mod Pinky a little bit later on as his schedule is able to make way for that. We've got WrestleQuest coming up at the beginning of August, beginning of the second week of August. We've got Blasphemy 2 at the end of August. We've got Remnant 2 kicking off a little bit later this week. We got all kinds of fun stuff, man, coming out with us. Lots of cool people here. We would love to have more like-minded, cool individuals come be part of what we do here. So other than that, happy flipping Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. And we'll catch everybody tomorrow for July 25th edition of Video Gaming News. All right?